Okay.
But right now, Chargers in Kansas City, almost 5-point underdogs. Kansas City trying to keep their playoff hopes alive in a literal must-win. All right, a little bit of a switch-up. Is this actually a must-win for Justin Herbert?
I'm kind of offended by the question, but we do this on like a call in the morning, and then I get into the office and I wanted to confirm because I'm on a train commuting during I'm like, did I hear the question correctly? And then I asked Nick, I'm like, you're good at these questions, like.
It's obviously a must-win.
I want to cede my time to you because there's
if they don't
literally no arguments that it's a must-win for Herbert and the Chargers.
Listen, it is
must-win for Herbert and the Chargers.
Yes, it definitively is. It doesn't mean it's not a must-win for the Chiefs. It definitionally is. This isn't who is it more important for, any of those things. If the Chargers don't win this game, they don't have it. They have, and they do run the very real risk of playing a. Hold on, you asked me.
They don't.
They run the very real risk by losing this game of playing in a Week 18 win and you're in, lose and your season is out game, which they have played in before, and they found a way to lose to a Raiders team. Justin Herbert prominently involved in that game, and the collapse is a possibility with a loss here. The Chiefs are hanging on for dear life, right? They are playing their worst football right now. They are as banged up on the offensive line as the Chargers are. So that is right now a fair fight piece of it. And you have an opportunity to vanquish this team and put your stranglehold on a playoff berth. If you can't win this game in this spot, then you're all of a sudden not only going to rally to make sure you do make the playoffs, but you're also going to go on some type of run. Like, the Chargers are not supposed to be, happy to be here, C.J. Stroud first year with the Texans, who, by the way, won a playoff game, or happy to be here, C.J. Stroud second year with the Texans, who, by the way, beat the Chargers in a playoff game. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to be, in this AFC playoff field, we've got the second most decorated quarterback. We've got one of the best coaches. We have a chance to win it. And they can prove to me that they can do that by winning this game. If they lose this game, and then have Cowboys, Texans, and then potentially a must-win in Denver, I'm worried about the Chargers top to bottom. So that's why it's a must-win.
Okay. When we were starting out this OT thing very early on, obviously I've known you forever, I did this what I thought was a great take, and Brew cut me deep when he said, that's a lot of gobbledygook. That's what Nick just did. What are you talking about? The Chargers can lose out and make the playoffs.
No, not realistically.
But not realistically, but if the Chiefs lose this game, they're done.
Yeah, of course.
So, obviously, objectively, it is a must-win for the Chiefs.
Agreed.
And if the Chargers lose, they can beat the Texans.
Ooh.
Well, let me ask you.
They can beat anyone on their schedule.
Well,
we just saw them beat Philly.
And we just saw them lose by 4 scores to the Jags. So we can do that. We just saw, so go ahead, bro.
Well, it's certainly not a literal must-win for the Chargers, all right? But in the must-win.
Danny watches the show.
Yeah,
he knows,
you know what we mean.
Danny knows how must-win works.
Let me ask you two guys this.
Let's do this.
If the Chargers lose this game to the Chiefs, but beat Dallas and then lose their next two, they'll still make. They would miss.
No, they would miss if the
Chiefs win out.
And again,
in that case,
yeah,
I'm with Nick. Because here's the thing. I think you are going Houston. Yes, you can't. I think you will beat Dallas. You can beat the Texans, but with your offensive line in shambles, that pass rush, we just saw it against the Chiefs. I think that's going to be tough for you. And same thing with Denver.
In Denver, Denver's playing for the 1 seed.
And so,
who the Chargers already beat.
Look, I'm not writing you off if you lose this, because obviously the Chiefs have to win out. But this is the year. First of all, your coach did say, a couple years ago, we're winning multiple championships.
Of course.
Yeah.
No better time than the present, when the king of the hill, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs are on the ropes. And if you can knock them out, You know how much easier your path is? Justin Herbert, outside of Josh Allen, would be able to say he's the best quarterback in the playoffs outside of Josh Allen
in the AFC.
I mean, listen.
And so you guys should knock them out of the playoffs and then really be feeling good going into the postseason.
Well, then you guys should all be fighting over picking the Chargers for upset alert. They're a 4.5-point underdog in Arrowhead against a team that is literally, not like in the game of the show, like literally in a must-win spot when if the Chargers lose, they play games the rest of the way against teams they've either beaten before this year or Denver, or at least teams that are in their weight class. Like, are the Texans much better than the Chargers? Their defense is certainly, but like
I just assume, and Christina, if we have that pressures faced in the last 10 seasons, I know you're breaking out a lot of like Justin Herbert is like making it work.
Yeah.
I thought the game against the Eagles. So this is the graphic. Most in the last 10 seasons, all of these teams had a ceiling of losing in the wild card round. I just feel like he is at such a disadvantage and has been making it work. I referred to the Eagles game as like driving your car with like a donut on it. It's like it can get you pretty far. Like, thank goodness we did it. But like, and you know what? I'm gonna go across country with this donut on my passenger wheels.
Listen, I think if you want to say that the Chargers, as presently constructed, can't win the Super Bowl, that's totally reasonable.
But when you run into the Broncos and the Texans,
right? That's it is. If they lose, this is the reason that I'm so adamant about this. And I think maybe you thought I was trying to say this is more of a must-win for the Chargers. I'm not. Obviously, the Chiefs' season is mathematically, spiritually, officially, and unofficially over with a loss.
Right.
It is a regular season playoff game for Kansas City. I understand that. But I first of all, did not think the Chargers Monday night played this amazing, like, oh my God, here come the Chargers game. I thought there were parts of the game that were impressive from Herbert, the toughness, thought the defense made some good plays. I also thought that they were incredibly fortunate the way that game ended for them to get the win. That's fine. You're playing the defending champs. It's a good win no matter what. If they lose this game, I think losing 2 of their last 3, including in Denver, is not only on the board, but likely. Now, that might not matter for the Chiefs because the Chiefs have shown they could, you know what I mean, they can lose as well.
Could be in a situation, too, where like if Denver's locked into a seed,
it's not impossible, but it's unlikely that Denver's that Week 18 game's for nothing. It would take the Patriots losing a couple and Denver, winning consistently. So we'll see. But that and your point that you made before of the Chargers could lose all 4 and still make the playoffs. Maybe I'm judging the Chargers differently than you. This team this year, the Chargers with Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, this Chargers team is not man, we made the playoffs, guys, especially when the AFC is as open as it is. It should be for a player that is talked about the way his supporters, I'm sitting next to one of them talk about, as why can't we go on a run? And if you go limping into the playoffs, obviously, I don't think.
Listen, I think that what has happened to the Chargers offensive line, what you just showed with the pressure stat, the path of the AFC playoffs, which happens, to your point, include 2 of the next 4 games. Like Denver and Houston are not good matchups for the Chargers, given their elite pass rush and the situation of the Chargers offensive line. Like, I think it's reasonable to say what happened against Philly, that's tough to replicate 4 times in a row and go on and win a Super Bowl.
But you think if right now, if the Chargers were in Jacksonville for round 1 of the playoffs,
I would pick the Chargers.
You would pick the Chargers. And then if in round 2 they go to Denver, you're saying you think they can win in Denver in Week 18.
They can.
Right. So the path is there. Like the path is there.
The path is definitely there.
Yeah.
I do at some point want to see Justin Herbert have a good kicker, which he finally has, and health around him. Like, I do want to see,
He's
like,
the best kicker in the. What do you mean?
No, I know. I'm saying in the past he has lost out because he's had bad special teams. In the past he's lost out because he has a bad head coach. Now he's got a good head coach and good special teams. I want to see.
He also didn't get it done.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to see him have an above-average health season around him.
Right.
and that'll come. But
Do you have them in this game?
do I have the Chargers in this game?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
He doesn't
I
feel
wasn't
good about
confident.
it.
Listen,
I
the
didn't like
Chargers
offensive
have
line.
4 more chances to punch their ticket.
They're not good chances, though. I mean, they could beat those teams, but I'm saying those are good
No,
teams.
but
they're playing.
just to be clear,
I know the Dallas.
1 in 3, unless the one comes against Denver or Kansas City, does not punch their ticket. It could, but it does not punch their ticket. And so losing to the Chiefs.
Must win, though, man.
If they lose this weekend,
Okay.
I believe they are facing a playoff game in Week 18, and that probably would be probably wouldn't be the Sunday night game because they wouldn't want Denver in that spot there. But I've seen the Chargers in those spots, and I've seen Justin Herbert in those spots. I wouldn't want to be in that spot if I were them.
It's time now to make stats cool again. Bills Patriots. Josh looking to avenge a loss in Week 5, which brings us to today's edition of Pack Stats. Again, it has an emoji, but it's cool. And we decided, we've been leaning into the cool factor. I mean, Danny looking cooler than ever.
Nothing is cooler than stats in a briefcase,
I
except me right now.
Whose idea was this?
Be careful
You know
putting
what? You
those
got to
gloves
break a
on.
few eggs sometimes.
Break a
This
few eggs.
feels like that's the wrong glove. This feels like Wild's idea.
I
Because
just-
Wild's loved the bad boy of sports TV.
Yeah, I think this is a
and
leftover.
loved Wild's. I'm not making any assumptions. Wild's likes leather.
Who doesn't?
Is like just really tries to get this jacket into the show.
I gotta tell you
Whatever
something,
he
that
can.
jacket is a great jacket.
Look,
It's actually
It is a
cool to
nice
wear.
jacket.
All right,
All right, you guys want some cool stats?
Yeah,
please.
sweet.
All right, speaking of cool, superheroes are cool.
Yeah.
Josh Allen might have to be Superman in order to beat the Patriots and going forward. Not a problem. When his defense has allowed 30 or more points, or when any team has allowed 30 or more points, the rest of the NFL is 89-2. Josh Allen is 3-1. So no defense and no problem for Superman. 16 touchdowns against 4 turnovers and over 360 yards of offense by himself. Wilds all week.
Can I ask you-
said he can't be Superman to win. Well, yeah, he can.
No, I think do you view that as, is that stat supposed to hurt my feelings or make me feel less optimistic?
I can't control
Why?
your feelings.
What do you?
Because again, I don't think being Superman is a path, but of course, if he decides to go superhero mode, I think he can beat any team.
No,
But I'm like, I read that as teams put up 30 on the Bills.
But that's not. If you look at it, if you really think about it, it says if we throw that back up there, it says the other 31 teams have allowed 30 or more 101 times. So that would be they average just over 3 a game. Or 3 a season.
3 times.
So the average team has allowed it 3 times. The Bills have
you.
allowed it 4 times.
Got it.
But I read it as every other team, if you win 30, you win. And if you
So
on Buffalo,
it's
if you
one miracle game against the Ravens. It was the game against the Bengals, and it was what other team?
I don't know.
30 against
the Bucks.
the Bucks.
Yeah.
How I read it is, yes, I concede all the things on the Bills' defense, but when the playoffs get here and Josh Allen's in the playoffs and people are like, man, it's going to be hard to pick against Josh Allen and the Bills because he's there, that's the reason why.
I'll take it.
I can't take you seriously.
I'm not looking to be taken.
I love it.
I'm just
Dan, do
cool
you think this is a fair take?
that this jacket's awesome?
The
Yeah.
jacket is awesome.
Thank you.
I'm just saying, if using cross sports, if Lucas scores 50, we're going to lose. But if he scores 30, we probably win. That's how I view the Bills and Josh Allen.
But I mean, doesn't that say the opposite?
Josh Allen just scored 50 and they won.
That's
No,
I'm saying.
what he said.
I'm
no,
saying,
hold on.
if that
I
happens,
don't
there's
think
nothing you can
presented
do.
that-
I may not have.
Right. What Wild is saying is.
Oh, you're saying the other team.
What Wild is saying is, the Luka example is, listen, we know he has the ability to go nuclear, and if he does that, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
But we don't think he's going to consistently do that. It's a little tougher in the NFL where it's single elimination, where you'd only have to do it once.
No, if he activates that, I think the whole league is
Right.
stuff.
The only time we've seen him activate that and lose is the 13
famous
seconds.
is a
Yeah.
all-time game.
Right. That's fair.
Cool stat.
Cool stat?
Yeah.
1 for 1. Lights.
Remember last week, Danny, the first one was a huge hit and the next two led
So
below.
far, so good.
Well, you know what else is cool?
What?
Fairness. The Matt Stafford Jared Goff trade is the fairest trade in NFL history. This is the record. These two teams are playing this week. The Lions record since the trade, Rams record since the trade. They both have 47 wins, basically identical. How have the quarterbacks played since flipping teams? Virtually identical. Wow. That is insane to me.
That is
insanely cool that Jared Goff and Matt Stafford have been the same player with the same number of wins on different teams. What a fair, cool stat.
All right, I
We
got it.
stumbled into the segment is.
We did. I got to tell you.
You got it. I told you.
This was that. First of all, that might be the craziest two
That's
full
amazing.
screens we've seen on
That's
the show
unbelievable.
in
Thank you.
months. That they're identical.
Good job by Troy.
With that said, the Lions got fleeced.
I mean,
Wait, what?
Well, the Rams won a Super Bowl and might win this one.
it'd be weird if they win another.
Right.
If you have Alliance as Super Bowls too. Yeah. Playoff
Okay,
wins.
but
Yeah.
do you think that the Lions were going to win those Super Bowls like with Stafford based on the path that
If
they
they
were going?
if they had hired Dan Campbell, maybe.
well, but
I just don't
They
think.
also
But
got a bunch of
here's the
draft
other
picks
thing,
back.
though, Nick.
Here's
the other thing, and I know obviously McVay lost confidence in Goff, but they did get to a Super Bowl with Goff before, so they could have. There's no saying they couldn't have won a Super Bowl with Goff.
No, the only reason they couldn't have was because Sean McVay turned on him. You know what I mean?
Did
Like the
turn on
head
him, but
coach
maybe he
didn't
would have, like
started
Goff has
Wild
been
Guy
good.
Wolfman in a playoff game over a healthy goal.
Yeah, that was-
That's
that
a great
was-
stat.
Great
It's a
stat.
great
What else
stat.
is-
That,
What else
that
is
was
cool?
cool.
What else is cool?
Other than fairness.
Doing your homework.
Hold on, where's the lights, guys?
Well,
Like, I need like tell me what else is cool.
Vegetables. Eating your vegetables.
I'll tell you what else.
I mean, that's fairness.
We're going to try to figure out who's going to win Broncos and Packers. I'll tell you right now. Whoever wins this stat matchup, all right? That's kind of cool. I don't know. Packers, sacks taken the last 4 games, 4. Broncos, sacks per game. They're on pace for one of the great sack seasons in NFL history. Jordan Love has no wins this year when he's been sacked 3 or more times. He's 0-2. It's only happened a couple of times. They do a great job of protecting Jordan Love. The Broncos, they're talking about it being the best pass rush since the 1984 Bears. They're on pace for the most since 1989. Will the Packers be able to protect Jordan Love against the Denver Broncos? If the answer is yes, they win. If the answer is no, they lose.
I don't have a graphic, but I believe Love's been good against pressure this year. You might know
Yeah,
that.
he's been below average against pressure
He's
this
been
year.
bad against pressure.
So I'm trying to fully.
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I
No.
Troy's on it.
Can Denver get to Jordan Love is what you're saying here. This one I got to say I didn't understand quite as much as the other one.
Oh no.
But now I get it. It just took me a second to get it. What, KW?
It's all right.
It's not as cool as the others. The other two stats were cool.
I'm not trying to have
We
that
got to be
grade
honest.
every
We got to be.
stat.
No. I'm
That's
just
fine.
telling you. The other two were eye popping.
I don't choose the stats. The stats
So
choose.
I wonder. Because what came into my head was the flip side matchup as well, which is Denver has been unbelievable at preventing sacks. Yet Bo Nix is one of the least sacked
That's
quarterback
correct.
in the league. And what can Micah do and that Green Bay pass rush do to impact this game? Where this is the excellent AFC team at home who is still an underdog. The Patriots were an underdog and it flipped. This one is sitting. That is a disrespectful 2.5 points. Green Bay
is.
going that on the road.
I think it's right, but it is disrespectful.
Because they're also Denver's on the crazy winning streak like the Patriots are.
And
They're
then
both
the home
11
winning
and
streak is
2.
even
Yeah.
crazier.
Love has a 55 passer rating against pressure. So
You should have been.
Yeah.
I just remembered.
That would have been good.
No, it's not I just remembered. I think it's like he has like a 57.
right.
You say I
Right. No,
think
he's got
and
me
you
here.
get it off by a little bit.
You know what? That was a cool
Sad.
segment.
I thought it was great. I think it was so great. I think when when Coach comes back out, I think you should just leave this on.
All right.
At least the gloves.
Okay,
It's the correct size.
Yeah.
What is cool? You know what's cool? Fairness.
Fairness is
It's funny.
That's the
So Monday night, the Eagles fell to the Chargers. The 5 turnovers from Jalen Hurts, I'm going to say it had something to do with it, including the game-sealing interception in overtime, Philly's 3rd loss in a row. Nick Sirianni went on good old Philly sports radio, and he was asked if he's considered benching Jalen Hurts. That's right. Willie, your reaction to the idea that Jalen Hurts should be benched?
Yeah, I feel like it's lazy talk. I do. And I think I'm 100% backing Nick Sirianni. This guy has won you a lot of games. He's been to 2 Super Bowls out of the last 5 years. You don't just abandon ship right now. But I also think if we had to point the finger, I would point it at Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo, because when you turn on the tape and watch their offense, it looks mundane, stagnant. There's no growth. And when you watch Jalen Hurts, it looks like he's regressing solely because of the fact that I don't know if it's a matter of him not wanting to do more, but they lack creativity, right? Like, this offense is built about running the ball. We know about the offensive line woes, this lack of, that they're unhealthy. Jurgens and Dickerson aren't playing really well. They lost to Mekhi Becton has been really, I thought, a big loss. But nevertheless, man, there's still ways of being effective. We talk about window dressing. Look at Mike McDaniels and Sean Payton, what they do with their team. Look how much window dressing they do and how they're still effectively able to run the ball. I think we have to get back to when Jalen Hurts is not throwing the ball as much. You brought that stat out yesterday, Coach. But right now, they have to do better of shaving the playbook down and making the game easier for Jalen Hurts. And he has to be more responsible with the football in his hand.
Yeah, I was surprised how measured Sirianni was in his response, or how calm he was in his response, because it is ridiculous to say that right now you should be thinking about benching Jalen Hurts. Look, he had a bad game,
Right.
and he had a bad game, and they lost in overtime. And Patrick Mahomes had one of the worst games of his career that same week. So it does happen, but you have won a ton of games with him. He's shown that he can play extremely well in the biggest moments, and to get to this point right now, and I understand they're on a 3-game losing streak, that it is lazy talk, and it is an oversimplification of the problems. And to Sirianni's point, you win as a team, lose as a team,
sir.
and there's a lot of things that need to be addressed and looked at. Maybe Tank Bigsby gets a few more carries. I mean, let's see whether or not he can run his average down, because he's almost 8 yards a carry. So there's all different elements that can be addressed before you go to, hey, let's get the quarterback.
So, listen, I love sports radio. Philly it's crazy, right? WIP, legendary station. It was written about in the Inquirer. It's a tough media market. They pride themselves on that. So these questions are going to happen. It would be the most shocking benching in NFL history. Right? I mean, the guy who won the Super Bowl MVP last year on a $200+ million contract, leading the division, getting benched. I've been thinking about it all day. like remember when Eli got benched in New York? How New York melted down? That was at the very end of Eli's career. Kurt Warner got benched, but he was in his early 30s, wasn't on a huge deal, then goes on and has success in Arizona. This would be
and when you bench quarterbacks, it's who are you benching them for?
Right, exactly. Tanner McKee.
Yeah, you better have someone in the next layer that people are excited about.
But that's what I will say. We have seen Philly move on from coaches who have won Super Bowls. We have seen quarterback controversies come up faster than normal. If this season does go off a cliff, would it completely shock me to see Howie Roseman draft a quarterback in the 2nd round and just bring an interesting name into the room next year? Jalen Hurts will still be there. He'll still be the starter. It would still be great. But you start stacking a season of bad play, then I do think it becomes a thing.
Well,
not 3 weeks.
I think it's a legit concern. I mean, they're averaging 16 points a game. I think as of start of in November, that's how much they've been able to average. But I also think right now, if you do figure out at the end of the season we haven't evolved and you draft a quarterback, it feels like now you're choosing A.J. Brown over Jalen Hurts. That's how I perceive it. And I think that's an interesting way to go about it, especially when now you're saying we're totally changing this offense around. Now we're not looking at this run-dominant offense. Now we're saying we're going to be a team that has to be able to air it out.
The one thing that I think has really helped Philadelphia over time is they are willing to move on from mistakes, the things that they don't feel hit the way they should. Carson Wentz is a great example.
Yeah.
They took one of the biggest, I think the biggest salary cap hit of all time, at that point when they released him.
I think at the time, it's been passed since.
No, it's been passed.
Yeah,
but I'm saying in that moment, they were willing to take that gigantic hit. They're willing to move on from head coaches. If they don't feel like it's right, there's strength in the ability to say, hey, we made a mistake. We think we can get better.
That's maybe a future solution,
Right.
not a present-day solution. A story obviously connected to Philly's downfall would be in Dallas, where the Cowboys could not get the job done last week against the Lions. They're trying to figure it out in the NFC East, but like we were just talking about, Philly's loss Monday does crack the door for the NFC East, and Jerry Jones is very happy about that. Shout out to Jerry for calling into the radio show from the private jet. That's a flex. It really is. But I don't think that they can win it. I don't think it's as bad in Philly. I think that the schedule that Philly has down the stretch, I expect them to be able to win division games against Washington, who they play twice, who can get blown out by Minnesota. Sure. And I also don't think that Dallas is so good all of a sudden that they are just, they're definitely going to go 4-0 down the stretch. Like, my guess is Philly doesn't completely tank.
Okay.
And I don't think Dallas absolutely wins out. Like, I think Philly will still win the NFC East comfortably.
Yeah, listen, I think, one, you have to understand Dallas will need to win out. Let's put that on the table.
Dallas has to win out.
And also, I mean, you need the Chargers, Vikings, Commanders, Giants, and Philly to at least drop 2 to have a shot. And for me, I'm just like, that seems impossible. I thought the loss to the Lions really closed the gate on them. So I think it's just they're out of time. By the way, I hate it because I think the NFL is a lot sexier when Dallas has a place at the table come January. But I think it's a little too late right now.
Yeah, so the odds are, I believe Philly is at 91% chance of winning the division. Dallas is at 9%. And the schedule lends itself to that, too. Comfortably playing the Raiders, Washington twice, and they do have the one challenging game. You would think that Philly's going to be able to handle that. I'd love for Dallas to make it because I'm a Brian Schottenheimer fan. And there was so much skepticism when he got hired as head coach. And I think he's done a great job amongst a lot of chaos that comes with Dallas. So it would be more fun if they were in the playoffs. And who knows? Hopefully that 9% hits and it would be fun.
I think that if you are a Cowboy fan, sure, you hold out hope, you root against Philly, all of those things, you may as well. The saving grace of the season is we didn't really know if we liked our coach. We like our coach. And Dak is playing at an MVP level, and our offense looks like it can be top 5 in the sport. And post-trade deadline, the defense has gotten better, and they've got draft capital. Like, I think it's a pretty easy sell. A lot of people are going to pick the Cowboys to win this division next year, to make the playoffs next year, to get back to where they were winning 12 games in a row. I think it's a totally reasonable argument to make, even if they miss the playoffs. Hey, Dallas had a successful season. I think that's reasonable.
And I think you're right, because I think at the end of the day, you do have side goals. And one of the side goals is if you win out in Valley, maybe you don't get in, you still have to make Dallas a sexy destination for free agents that come along and say, hey, man, there's a circus with Jerry, but they're winning football games. There's high-octane football. The defense is different. So you're a free agent who feel like you want to go win somewhere. Dallas looks like a destination.
And, of course, we'll talk Dallas in the offseason and all these teams then. But so I get why they're talking about the NFC East, but the silver lining is you've set yourself up a lot better for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into the season, they had the rookie head coach that wasn't touted, that was a complete out-of-the-blue hire. Then you trade your best player. Everybody had completely written Dallas off, and now you have to be enthusiastic going to this offseason, thinking, okay, we can build on what we have, and we've got a bunch of competent people in control of the organization that is going to give us a shot.
They're just the Eagles would need to completely
have a meltdown,
completely collapse, and I think
which isn't totally off the table based off their history.
No, I know. 2 years ago they totally collapsed, and they've lost 3 games in a row.
But they're not losing to the Raiders.
That's kind of what I think. Also, listen, if you think the Bears are awful, the Bears dominated them like that. If that's the argument, like if you think the Bears are awful and an awful team just dominated Philly, then it's like, okay, well then maybe anybody can beat them. But I don't think this is still the same Eagles team that's beating the Chiefs, that's beating the Cowboys, that's beating the Rams, that's beating the Lions. They have good wins this year. I don't see them collapsing.
Yeah, at home and on the road. So there's no play.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.